Awesome.
Hey.
Hey, Rita, how's it going?
Good, good.
You gave an awesome presentation this morning on
Thank
CSI. I was wondering a little bit about the history of CSI, how Microsoft came to, build a feature like CSI, especially in the context of HashiCorp Vault.
That's a great question. So I would say, it all started with a lot of customers telling us, hey, we've been using HashiCorp Vault for many years, we love it, we trust it, and now I'm running Kubernetes. How do I actually store my application secrets in Vault, but continue to use it in Kubernetes? So we hear this over and over, and then we thought, why don't we just create a solution for it? So the next thing what I did was I created a flex volume implementation, and that got a lot of traction, and we got a lot of customers asking for more. And then I looked at CSI, which was a new standardization that was put in place to bring in external storage system into containerized workloads. And so we then created the Secret Store CSI driver, and we worked with HashiCorp engineers to add the Vault integration. And we built it in such a way that it's really easy to add new providers. So basically the providers just have to worry about the logics behind how to authenticate, how to retrieve content from the Secret Store backend, but not having to worry too much about the Kubernetes side of things.
So this is really about building a way for applications to read stuff from the file system rather than having all this built-in logic around interacting with Vault.
That's right.
Cool. So how many of your customers, obviously this is an approximation, but are you guys seeing a lot of customers running Vault directly on Kubernetes?
Yeah, we definitely hear a lot of feedback around that, and I think that's why this implementation is really important, because they want to continue to have the same experience, but now that they're moving their applications to Kubernetes, before this solution, they were kind of like, well, what do I do now, right? So yeah, absolutely a lot of feedback around that.
Awesome, that's great. So you've had the CSI plugin out in the open for a while. Today you demoed it. Do you have a lot of people using it right now? What kind of customer feedback are you getting around that?
Yeah, so we're still in alpha, and I still remember writing this during Christmas break, actually, because when we met previously, when we met with Kubernetes SigOff, I demonstrated the flex volume solution, and then the entire community was really excited about this design, but they were wondering, like, hey, could I actually use a CSI implementation? And that's what I did. And once that was delivered, currently the solution is in alpha, and the reason behind that is, we're actually moving the provider implementation out of tree, and we're donating the CSI driver plugin to Kubernetes SIGs, so that when people ask the same questions and when there's new providers, hopefully we have a common interface for everybody.
That's great. So you mentioned the Kubernetes SIG, the SigOff. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, like what Microsoft's relationship to that is and how Vault came into play there?
Yeah, sure. So in Kubernetes community, there's a special interest group, SIGs, for almost everything. And so when it comes to security, authentication, authorization, and even a little bit about policies, a lot of times people tend to go to like SigOff for guidance and recommendations. Now, having the ability to maintain like application secrets in Kubernetes has always been sort of an issue for a lot of users, because they didn't want to keep their secret content in etcd unencrypted. And so this is the SIG that really looks at different options, look at various implementations and POCs. And so what we've done is we understood the problem and looked at all the past various implementations, and we brought this to the community and asked for feedback.
On that point, what were some of the advantages that you saw in running Vault over using native Kubernetes secrets?
That's a great question. So what we've actually done was we looked at how natively Kubernetes brought in Kubernetes secrets into pods. And as it turns out, it basically mounts Kubernetes secrets as a volume in pod. And so then we thought, hey, now with this new CSI implementation, I wonder if I could just basically mimic the same process, same design, but using the CSI volume plugin. And so what happens is when a pod is created with the CSI driver, it then basically creates a temp FS volume. And within this volume, then the CSI driver authenticates itself to the secret store provider. So in this case, let's say HashiCorp Vault, it authenticates itself and it retrieves secret content from Vault, and then it basically mounts a temp FS volume to the pod, and then the secret content is written inside of the container's file system. And now all the processes that are running in the container can then leverage those secret content.
Yeah, one of the things that we're seeing at HashiCorp is a lot of the people out there who are running Vault, they want to run it on Kubernetes now. And I think that the big advantage, along with just having a more secure implementation, right, to secure secrets inside of Kubernetes, takes a lot of work. There's a lot of effort there. And it's not foolproof when you're done either. So, the ability to run Vault on Kubernetes is great, and having those secure methods to get your secrets. Also, the great thing is if you're happen to be running Kubernetes on-prem and in the cloud, you can leverage Vault for both of those situations. Right. So if you're in a hybrid environment, which more and more people are running into every single day,
that's right.
Vault gives you that ability.
Right, and that's what we really love about Kubernetes and these container interfaces, such that our users don't have to worry about lifting and shifting their applications on different clouds, regardless what provider you're on and which secret store provider you're using. They can easily switch and swap.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So, given that, how do you think our two companies can work better in the future?
That's a great question. I think that from my interaction with working with you and your team, I wouldn't change a thing. I think coming up, everything we've done to get the CSI work out the door, I'm really looking forward to future interactions. I think that it's been incredibly smooth. And I'm very appreciative of the partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. I just want to give a quick shout out to Mishra, who's done the initial implementation for Vault integration. And we're really, really excited about all the other providers that are coming in as well. And again, because we're all doing this in the open, it's really important that we show customers and users that, hey, this is a standardized way of doing the same thing. Let's not reproduce code unless we have to, right? And how do we all work together to bring the same experience and benefit everybody?
Yeah. And I'd also like to give a special thanks to our team over at HashiCorp, Jason O'Donnell and Clint Stryrock, who both worked really hard to get some of the newer features around Vault Helm, which is a great new feature we released recently to get Vault installed on top of Kubernetes. So yeah, I really appreciate it, Rita. Thank you.
Thank you.